Good morning, all. So, today in Principles of Management, we are going to learn about decision making. The outcome of this move will be that we will learn that the decision making is made in three different type of environment, that is certain condition, uncertain conditions, and risky conditions. Then decision making in a situation is determined by the accuracy of information obtained in the process of making decision, and also we will discuss upon the process of rational decision making that encompasses steps that includes defining the problem, identifying the decision criteria, thirdly allocating the weightage to each criteria, fourthly generating alternative solutions and evaluating each alternative solutions, and sixthly we will learn about selecting the optimal way of decision making. Okay, just hold on. So, in this process of learning, it is important for us to recognize the managers are, continually making decisions, and and that the quality of their decision making has an impact of something quite significant on the effectiveness of an organization and its stakeholders and people who are associated with it. The members of the top management team regularly make decisions that affects the future of the organization, and all it is at the stake, right? Such deciding whether to pursue certain new technology or product line or not, a good decision can enable the organization to thrive and survive the long term, for a very long term, while a poor decision can lead to a business into bankruptcy and a complete closure. So, decision making is also one of the functions of management. The success of management depends upon the quality of decision. If the manager fails to take correct decision, he may, he may not extract any work from his subordinates. Not only that, he may not find a way to finish his work also in time. Some of the decision making are undertaken emotionally, and that should be taken with a great care. So emotional decision leads to a lot of confusion, so the decision is making is a work of a superior with in accordance to lot of, what do you say, experience to add into the process. Okay, so uh, while we are saying that the considering, like for example, a first line supervisor who is charged with scheduling the workers and ordering raw material for the department, the poor decision making by will lower at lower management is unlikely to drive the entire firm out of existence, but it can lead to many adverse outcomes that will affect the organization, like reduce in productivity if there are too few workers or insufficient supply, increase in expenses if there are too many workers or too many supplies, extra supplies that comes in, then frustration among the employees, reduced moral, reduce morals and motivations, increase the uh, work turnover. And if decision involve managing and training workers, while making some decisions are simple managerial decisions that are often complex, one that involves a large range of options and uncertain outcomes. Okay, so when decision making or when deciding among various options and uncertain outcome, managers needs to gather information, right? So we have come across the definition of managerial decision making. So decision making, the process by which managers respond to opportunity and threat by analyzing the opposition and making the decision about the goal and course of action. So decision in response to opportunity, manager responds to a way to improve organizational performance. Decision in response to a threat occurs when managers are impacted by adverse event to the organization. Then we have certain characteristics that decision making will contribute. That is, decision making is a selection process. The best alternative is selected out of available alternatives. So the best way to select decision making is to take out the best alternative. The best alternative is selected out of the varied available options that you have. There, if there are or if there is only one alternative, there is no decision making. You have no other choice other than relying into one option that you are left with. Okay, so the decision making process is the end process. So decision making is presented by detailed discussion and selection of alternatives. So what we have in decision making is detailed discussions and alternatives that are available on the uh, on hand to work with. So managers are need to see what are the because it is an end process, so what are the available uh, alternatives we have. Details, talking in details the various alternatives, the putting it into priorities, then selecting the best alternatives or details that is suitable for the organization or for the task to be completed. Okay, so decision making is a application of intellectual ability to a greater extent. So an intelligent man alone can take a good decision, and maybe board of members of many what do you call prepared people can make a bad decision altogether, right? So it is it being a dynamic process, it is taken to achieve the objective of an organization, right? So decision making involves evaluation of available alternatives through critical appraisal methods. So through critical appraisal method, what we can do is that we can look for alternative available, evaluate the available alternatives that is there with the organization. Okay, then we have decision makers has the evaluation of decision which involves the use of resources in a specific way. Okay, uh, what are the elements of decision making? So what do we need to making a proper decision making? First we need to have a problem. So a problem is fully analyzed and available alternatives are considered before taking any decision. So the best decision making requires intelligence, experiences and insight into problem. So a decision is taken according to the environment of the business, right? So then you have centralization and decentralization of authority for effective decision in that has to be taken indirectly or directly. So then you have psychology of an individual is also involved in decision making, and decisions are taken in when they are needed. So employees are also involved into the process of decision making, right? So like we need to keep in mind that you can create and develop an alternatives from which to choose when to make your final decisions. So when faced by a large or a complex situation, there are two qualities that will lead to more effective decision, that is logical and open mindedness. So when you have a, when you approach a problem or get a problem on the way of achieving your objectives, what happens is you search your mind, you brainstorm your mind for the preconceived options and prejudices. Okay, so then by preconceived opinions that you have and the prejudices you have, then you try to logically assemble and learn the fact of the situation. Okay, so by learning the fact of the situation, by understanding the cause and effect of relationship involved in a situation, you can formulate solution that deals with the root of the problem. Okay, so first you need to have dealing with the root of the problem by keeping an open mind and eye onto the situation. So you can creatively develop alternatives from which to choose and when make while making your final decision. So a logical open-minded approach to making decisions involves identifying and defining the problems, then gathering and analyzing informations, and development of alternative solution to choose the best alternative out of it. Okay, and then take action and evaluate the decision that you have taken. Okay, so this is the decision making process. So what we start with is, first we start with is identifying the problem or defining the problem. So identification of a problem or defining a problem, you must clearly define what obstacle you are coming across and how you can solve it. The problem that remains vague and resist resolution and creates anxiety or uncertainty will be always a issue that has to be addressed. So a vagueness or hazy issues are impossible to deal with. So and they often creates a periphery of a new problems to come across or arise. So you have to minimize the vagueness, the hazy information associated with your assignment or the project that you have taken up to complete, right? So then you have to crystallize the issue so you can deal with the deal with them one by one. So you the first of all, you cannot have a vague idea that this is the problem, that's it. The more clearer or more defined you are about the what is relating it to the problem is to come across, the better your decisions will be, right? Then, so for that you have to diagnose the problem, that means gathering and analyzing the information, right? So diagnosing the problem, and then you are gathering the information or analyzing the information. You need to do what? You must be accurate, have an accurate collection of information to solve the issue properly, appropriately. If you hastily find a solution, uh, uh, short changes their parts of process, you can create unnecessary delay and unintended results will come out. So the more information you gather about a particular issue or a problem, more like you are likely to be will be able to reach to a satisfactory result coming from the collected information. Now developing the alternatives, now discovering the alternatives or developing the alternative solutions or actions. So if a solution is an issue surface quickly, it is tempting to simplify or simply do it. So the first solution you come up with is that although it is acceptable or may not be the best alternative, that it will take time to develop alternatives, right? So the solution, even when you do not think that you need them to be creative, but you need to address that idea. So to choose the best alternatives, you must analyze it. The analyzing the alternatives. So how do you analyze the alternatives? Choose the best alternatives out of it. The most of the problems have several acceptable solutions, and picking the best one, that becomes a matter of a degree of choices. We narrow your choice down to a few best alternatives that you need as per your requirement by evaluating your options. Okay, so consider how the solution aligns with your goal or objective, how it affects the entire process, and the cost, time which is required, and the risk associated with it, and how much you can depend on it, will are the valuable aspects or factors that has to be taken care while taking decisions. Now then, after analyzing it, we need to have take action. So in screening analysis we have done, the selecting of the best alternative means you have selected, okay, we will go for the plan whatever you have made it. So out of many alternatives, so now you selected the best one. Now you have to implement it. So implementation, that means taking action. So now that you have weighed all your alternatives and have chosen the best course of action, it's time to take any step forward to implement it. Okay, so finally, then once you have implemented this action, you have to verify or evaluate the decisions. So by verifying and evaluating the decision, finally you should structure in a progress, a review, and a final evaluation in order to progress and evaluate the final result. Okay, uh, just hold on. Yeah. So again, coming to verifying the decision and evaluating the decision, you should structure in progress a review and a final evaluation in order to gauge the progress and evaluate the final result. So implementing the steps can be instrumental in breaking a large challenge. It will arise with another set of issues or problems into manageable steps. So don't let the overwhelm don't let the entire process overwhelm the decision making and implementation of it. So using a proven decision making model will enhance your confidence and your personal and professional success, depending upon your ability to make a sound decision on an appropriate time frame. So what do you need to think about is that how you are going to solve the issue. All right, now let's go to the next. Yeah, so the types of decision making, what are the various types of decision making? That is program decision, non-program decisions. Okay, understanding different types of decision making will include, despite we are far reaching the nature of decisions and in the form of examples and so on. There are the types of straightforward decisions are termed as program decisions, and these decisions are occur frequently enough that we develop as an automated response. Okay, so what we have straightforward decisions. Okay, based on certain inputs, we straightforward take up certain decisions. That is a program decision. Like in an academic year, uh, we are having classes, we are having a practicals, we are having all the day to day activities based on your timetable, we are conducting it. But by the end of the semester there has to be a exam. So deciding about the exam is a programmed decision, because it has to be there, it has to be conducted. Okay, so it is a straightforward decision that can be termed as a program decision. Now these are the decisions that occur frequently enough, so examination will be on a frequency of your each semesters, right, at the end of your each semester. So these are frequent, that we develop, that it is a frequent decision making that we develop automatic response to. So that okay, your session has started from July, so it is an automated, or your session has started from August, it is an automated decision. By the time we are coming to November and December, you are going to have your examination, so you will be prepared by the end of the semester, that any time there will be a declaration of examination dates, right? So it is a programmed process and it is a frequent activity, right? So however, decisions are unique and important in requiring conscious thinking, information gathering, and careful consideration of alternatives are also impending into making decisions. Okay. Then we have non-program decisions. They can be non-program decisions, usually situations that have not been often addressed, no rules to be followed since the decision is new, and um, uh, what you call these decisions made are based on information and on a manager's intuition and judgment. Like for example, the firm should invest in a new technology, so taking up a new technology, that is a non-program. Suddenly you come across an idea or a technology that has to be taken up, so it is a non-programmed decision making. Okay, so then we have principles of decision making, that is managerial thoughts of new theories of decision making. So okay, so managerial theories of decision making, it is based upon principles of diminishing returns, apply for sales, advertisements, promotions and training. Then we have mathematical theory, venture analysis, game theory, game theories, probability theory, and weighting theory. That are some of the examples of mathematical theories of principle of decision making. Then we have it gives a specific approach to managers. So mathematical theory of decision making will give you a specific approach to certain situation. Then we have psychological decisions. Psychological decisions are based on aspirations, technological skills, personality situations, and we have social status and organizational status. So decisions can commonly made within the organization based on various levels of decisions that is required. Like for example, we have strategic decisions, who can make these decisions. Top level management can take these decisions. Then tactical decisions, managers, middle level managers can take these tactical decisions. Then you have operational decisions. Bottom level managers or employees throughout the organizations can take operational decisions, right? So these are certain things that has to be considered. Then you have limiting factors, the principle of limiting factors, that is fundamentals of problems that are studied into the decision making process, and interference or an conclusion which that can be drawn out of the limiting factors. Then principles of participations. The principle is based on human behavior and human relationship. So subordinates should consult, alternatives, and its employees and other management managerial thing, segments of departments. Right. So, alternatives are evaluated and screened on best alternatives is taken for decision making. Right. Then we have, uh, yeah. Then we have characteristics of good decisions and effective decisions. What are the characteristics? Uh, Decisions is taken after passing various stages. The basic objective of passing through all stages is to solve the problems and solutions of the problem depending upon how effective the decision has been made or implemented. So what are the steps? The steps that requires to take decisions are identifying problem, establishing decision criteria, weightage given criteria, generating alternatives, evaluating the alternatives, choosing the best alternatives, implementation of the decisions, and evaluating the decisions are the steps which are required for the decision making. Now what it will be the action, it should be whether action oriented or not, it is goal oriented, directed or not, and efficacy in implementation, how effectively or if flawlessly we are implementing at the ground level, that determines the characteristics of good decision making process. Okay, so administrative problems in decision making are, whether we are accurate in that in decision making or not. Environment of decisions, what type of environment we are living right now for proper decision making, right? Then we have to have communication of in the while making the decisions, proper decision making process. Then we have to have a participatory decision making and implementation of the same process. Now the various types of decisions that can be programmed, non-programmed, major decisions, minor decisions, operational decisions, and organizational decisions, as we have talked about. Then we have personal decisions that has to be taken, individual based decisions, group discussions and decisions, departmental decisions, non-economic decisions, crisis decisions, and research based decisions are some of the uh, you know uh, process of decision making. Now we need to, one more thing we need to address here is that while we are talking about decision making, the decision commonly made within the organization, that is the strategic decision, as we have talked about, that is among the top level management. The manager, we it should be merged with the another, uh, like for example, if I say, okay, whether your department should be merged with another department or not, or it should be further more decentralized activities should be there or not. This is among the strategic decisions, and it is with the top level management. Then you have tactical decisions, that is with the middle level management. So in there you have the thing, a work that has to be done. So what are the various processes or tactic you are going to take upon for the motivating and directing the entire center or department into working for the that decision, for that goal, is the tactic that you take upon. It can be group tactic, group working tactic, it can be a single direction tactic, it can be a report based tactics, various tactics that a manager takes upon to implement it among his employees to make the work done. So for example, what you should do to help facilitates the employee for the two companies working together. All right. So for this problem, how how should we market a new product, and we should be able to let go when new downsizing the activities can be done. So these are the few problems that has come up with the managers, like how we are going to facilitate certain employees into the company. Suppose there is a new employees that has come. So how you facilitating them, which areas that you are going to address them to, or what are the new marketing strategies that you are going to take up. So this is going to rely among the marketing cell or department. Tactical decisions has to be made. Similarly, when we have organizational decisions, we often should communicate with new co-workers, like that. It will have a operational effect, like when we are correlating with the co-workers there. So it will implement how much hours you are supposed to give, how you are supposed to work, how to balance your work forum and your personal life, and all those things that will come up as an individual decision or the group decision part. Okay. So with this, we come to see that there are various types of processes of decision making activities. Now, personal phase of decision making, there are some differences in decision making, and these are due to personal characteristics, due to the intelligence of the manager, the education that manager has received, the experiences, the courage, the motivation, forecasting ability, and self confidence are part of the decision making. The classical model of decision making will be perspective model that tells you how the decision should be made. So assume the manager have access to all the information that needed to reach a decision. Manager can make the opinion decision by easily ranking them their own preferences among the alternatives. So unfortunately, managers often do not have all the required information to take a managerial based decisions, right? So this is a classical model of decision making, like a list of alternatives and consequences, that is assumes all information is available to the manager. Then rank each of the alternatives from low to high. It assumes a manager can process information, right? Then we have select best alternatives. It assumes that manager knows the best future course of organization, right? So this is the basics of administrative classical model for decision making. Then we have administrative models, and administrative models of decision making. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. Yeah. So when we are talking about administrative model of decision making, challenges the classical assumption that managers have and process all the information. That is, as a result, the decision making is a risky decisions. Then bonded rationality, there is a large number of alternatives, and information is vast, so that the managers cannot consider it all. Then we have decisions are limited by people's cognitive abilities. So incomplete information, most managers do not see all the alternatives and decide based on the incomplete information that has been perceived. So an incomplete decision will result into uncertainty and risky decisions. Ambiguous information will also have an income is also part of incomplete information, will also result into a risky decisions. Time constraint and information cost will also be part of or difficult decision making process. So recognizing the need of decision, frame the problem first, then generate and assess the alternative, choose among the best alternatives that is available, implement the chosen alternative, and learn from the feedback. Means when we evaluate it, so we need to learn from the feedback that we have to take the proper decisions. Now, recognize the need of decision means the manager must first realize the need for which decision must be taken or must be made. Frame the problem, that manager must frame the problem for which decision uh, is to made for. Like, what are the problem? Isolate the issue that you are coming across as a hindrance. Then generate the alternative, that manager must develop feasible alternative course of action. So if good alternatives are missed, the resulting decision is also going to be poor or risky. It is hard to develop a creative alternative, so managers needs to look for new ideas. So there you can have employees and your employees and your fellow members or colleagues can pitch into the ideas for making a decision. Then you have evaluate the alternatives that are there. So that are the advantages. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of the alternatives that you have taken up? So managers should specify the criteria and evaluate the pros and cons of the alternatives that has been served. Then choose among the alternatives. The manager ranks alternatives and decide, while ranking all information needs to be considered. Now, implementing the alternatives, managers must now carry out the best option that is available with the management, right? So often a decision is made on and is not implemented. Why? Because of to implementing the process of implementing a proper decisions that a management has come across. So it can be because of the because of the resistance that can come across by the employees, or the problems or vague information, incomplete information can help uh, generate such hindrance in implementing the alternatives that you have selected. The learning from the feedback, that means the manager should consider what went right and wrong with the decision and learn from in the the failure of implementing those decisions for the future consideration. So without the feedback, managers never learns from the experience and might repeat the same mistake in the impending future. Okay. So now, consideration of this change of action, there is a chain of relationship in all activities of an organization. So different activities are tied up in a sequence. So any decision to change any sequence, or any decisions that is implemented in an organization, will lead to the success or or failure of the organization. So it all, we must also keep in mind that you, whatever decisions you have done, also has to be having a flexibility in, at the time, at the wake of the change of the, scenario. Then there should be participation of all the members or the employees, or of the organization, in making decisions at, for, certain level. Then then you have to also study or understand the impact of what alternatives that you have taken as a decision, part of your decision, right? So then you have to also have a sufficient time to implement it and analyze the issues. Okay, so this all together becomes a part and parcel of your good administration for decision making process. Okay, this is all for your principle of management, and I would like all of you to go to your LMS and take the quiz.